Lieutenant, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, you can turn your video on and unmute yourself.
Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you get stationary somewhere? Are you good?
I am. I was actually just texting one of the investigators. One of my detectives just got into a car accident. So I was trying to see if my case file is actually in the car, but I'm here right now. If they could probably just skip to next to give me a few minutes to deal with this.
Okay. Well, Judge, I will say I do have Officer Arnold who's on Attorney Pleasant's case. If we can do that one, and then maybe at the end of that one, Lieutenant Turnbull will be in a better position to do the hearing on Mr. Lagunde, if that's okay with the court.
Yeah, I believe Attorney Rogers, he's representing Mr. Lagunde, correct?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
understand?
Yes,
Do you have
ma'am.
any objections?
No, I mean, he's here. I object, but I'm reasonable. He's here.
Okay, but we're gonna get to it today, I assure you, Attorney Rogers. Okay, thank you. So Mr. Lagunde, we're gonna basically hold back on your case until the officer is in a position to properly testify. And so we will return to your case once he's in a position. We're gonna move on to another case. So deputies, if you could bring forward the next defendant, who's A.D.A. Freeman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
If you can, I just put my cell phone number in the chat. If you can just send me a message when because your hearing will be right after this one, and that'll be the last one. So I just
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is this
We need Vernon Clark.
Okay.
so Lagunde, this whole we're not.
We're
Sorry. Debbie, can you put your device on mute so I can speak? Okay. So Lagunde is going to be the last hearing. And so the next defendant we need is defendant Vernon Alex Clark. Thank you. Ready to go, Attorney Pleasant? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not ask you if you were ready.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay.
And Judge, at the end of the calendar I'll submit the dismissal on the warrants, the 2018 warrant. Yes.
Okay. And just for the record, Attorney Pleasant, I believe you said you had a motion. Was that the motion was to address the statute of limitation problem?
That is correct, Judge.
Okay. Okay, that's been resolved.
That has been resolved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my name is Judge Tamika West Bernard, sir. Mr. Clark, I'm presiding over your preliminary hearing for this morning. I'm officially calling the state of Georgia versus Vernon Alex Clark for warrant number 2018. I'm sorry, those will be dismissed, the 2018.
Yes.
So I'm going to proceed forward with the 2023 charges. So it would be for warrant number 2023 WA01142 for the charge of battery, family violence. A second charge of warrant number 2023 WA01143 for the charge of robbery by sudden snatching. And then third charge, warrant number 2023 WA01144 for obstruction or hindering an emergency telephone call. And then warrant number 2023 WA01145 for the charge of cruelty to children in the third degree. And then a last charge, warrant number 2023 WA01146 for the charge of theft by taking. The state is represented by A.D.A. Cheryl Freeman. The defendant, Vernon Alex Clark, is represented by Attorney Tiffany Pleasant. The state is ready to proceed forward with their first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Arnold, can you turn your video on? Thank you. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Vernon Clark will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand. Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Patrice Arnold, Clayton County Police Department.
Sir, how long have you worked with the Clayton County Police Department?
A little over a year.
Sir, were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on January 3rd of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
On that day, were you dispatched to 8228 Sunnydale Lane in Jonesboro, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you dispatched to that address?
We were dispatched there, received a call, pretty much a third-party call in reference to the victim, pretty much stating that she was in the household and the defendant was pretty much there, assaulted her, and she was afraid that the defendant was there and she couldn't get out the house. I want to say it was a property check for the most part, a domestic situation.
When you arrived at that location, who did you make contact with?
Upon arrival, we didn't make contact with anyone initially because we couldn't get the victim to come to the door. We couldn't get nothing happening, and eventually we were able to actually get a key to a PIN code to the actual household, and opened the door and pretty much alerted the victim that things were safe, and we were able to make contact with her then.
Okay, and is this Miss Bria Outlaw?
Yes, ma'am.
When you made entry into the residence, did you speak with Miss Outlaw?
I would have to refer back to my records to ensure that, to figure out, to be able to clarify whether or not we spoke to her right then, or we cleared I want to say we did clear the household prior to then actually made the contact with her. I want to say that's what we ended up doing. Okay.
Well, at some point when you were there because of this domestic disturbance, did you speak with Miss Outlaw to find out what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
What did Miss Outlaw tell you that occurred that day?
Ms. Outlaw advised that she and Vernon, they got into it. The defendant got into it. He was accusing her of cheating on him and stuff along those lines, and he ended up attacking her while in the household. He took her phone. He took her, I guess, an Apple Watch, and was in the restroom with it without her knowledge, unbeknownst to her. And she tried to get she tried to get it from him. He ended up coming out of there. He ended up hitting her. He did state that she stated that he punched her twice with a closed fist, pinned her on the bed, and grabbed the phone from her, and then took off with the phone, the Apple Watch, and then left with the car.
And also, Arnold, just so we're clear, at some point during this time, was Ms. Outlaw trying to call 911?
She did. What she ended up having to do was scream out to her son, who was in another room, to do so for her using his devices. This is the fact that she couldn't because Mr. Vernon had taken hers.
Did Ms. Outlaw give you an estimate as to how much her iPhone was and her Apple Watch?
If I recall correctly, the iPhone, I want to say, was $1,500, and the Apple Watch was $300.
You mentioned her son. Was her son present during this incident?
Not physically in the actual room, but he was within earshot to where he heard his mother screaming.
Do you recall how old her son was?
10 years old.
Was he still there when officers arrived?
Yes, ma'am. He
Were
was.
you able- I'm sorry, go ahead.
He was the one we made entry into the household. He exited the downstairs restroom with his mother.
Were you able to get any statements from her son?
We did while we were downstairs. We did, just to clarify what it is that he may have seen or heard. We did ask him, and he did say that he heard her screaming.
Did Miss Outlaw have any visible injuries?
Yes, she did. She had bruising on the face. I can't recall which eye exactly it was, but she did have a black eye. If I can look at my records, I can verify which eye it was that was black and swollen.
Did she have to seek any medical attention?
She was advised to, but I mean, she didn't. I can't recall in that moment if she did leave to go seek it or if we had. So I can't recall in that moment, but I know she definitely. I mean, she would need to get it looked at.
Okay. And also, Arnold, and you may have stated this, and I apologize if you did, but when Ms. Outlaw indicated that Mr. Clark took her phone and her Apple Watch, did she have physical possession of those items at the time?
So the Apple Watch, no, she did not have physical possession of the Apple Watch. But the cell phone, she definitely had it in. She remember she stated to me she had it in her pocket, and during the time that he pinned her down, he grabbed it from her pocket.
Okay. Did Mr. Clark reside at this location with Ms. Outlaw?
From what I gather, yes, ma'am.
Did they have any children together?
They did not have any children together, no, ma'am.
Was Mr. Clark still at the location when you arrived?
When we arrived, Mr. Clark was not at the scene. Sometime after we had actually made entry and cleared the location, when I started speaking with the victim, he actually showed up.
Did Mr. Clark make any statements about what happened?
He did make statements. Let's see. I want to be accurate here. If I may, can I just look at my report just to be certain of what he stated to me?
That's fine. Go ahead. Let me know when you have refreshed your recollection.
Yes, ma'am. All right, I'm good to go, ma'am.
Okay. So do you recall whether or not Mr. Clark made any statements?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he state?
So Mr. Clark stated that he and the victim, they pretty much got into it because she was cheating on him with other men. With that, he also stated that they got into a tussle. They started tussling, and I asked him, pretty much where was he coming from, because he did leave the residence. He stated that he went to clear his head and calm down. I did also let him know that I saw the bruising and the black eye that the victim had, and asked him, how did that happen? And he pretty much told me that she may have hit his elbow during their tussle.
Were you able to recover the iPhone and the Apple Watch from Ms. Outlaw?
None of the items that were taken weren't able to cover any of them.
Did all of this take place in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
Hey, your witness, Attorney Pleasant.
Thank you. So Officer Arnold, were the alleged victim's statements recorded in any way?
It will be body cam. I would assume body cam.
When you say assume, were you not wearing body worn camera?
Yes, I was wearing body worn camera. So it would be body cam. I'll go body cam.
Okay. And did you speak to the 10-year-old?
Yes, ma'am.
What statements, if any, did he make?
Just the fact that he heard his mother screaming.
And is he the third party 911 caller?
No, ma'am.
And this is an apartment, correct?
This is a house.
The house. So who is the third party 911 caller?
I want to say it's either relative of Mr. Vernon or relative of the victim. But I can't recall for certain who the third party caller was. That actually made the call to 911.
Do you know how this person was notified that there was a potential issue?
From my understanding, the notification came through when they utilized the son's device to kind of make that contact with someone who actually contacted 911.
Okay. And other than the 10-year-old and the alleged victim, are there any other witnesses in this case that you're aware of?
In the household, no, ma'am.
Outside the house, neighbors?
No, ma'am.
And any other statements that you are attributing to Mr. Clark in this case?
Aside from what I stated, I don't think I have any additional statements.
Okay, and that statement, to your knowledge, is also on body worn camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, any redirect? Attorney, for the state.
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay, Attorney Pleasant, do you have any witnesses?
No, defense rests as well, Your Honor, and I will submit on the testimony.
Okay. Based upon the evidence, I do find sufficient probable cause to bind all charges against Mr. Clark over to Superior Court, specifically for the charge of battery, family violence, robbery by sudden snatching, obstruction/hindering emergency phone call, cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, as well as theft by taking. That will conclude your preliminary hearing for this morning, Mr. Clark. And I want to thank both parties for their presentation of your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. And may Officer Arnold be excused?
Yes.
Thank you, Officer Arnold.
You're welcome, man. Thank you.
And Judge, if you can give me a moment, let me try to reach Lieutenant Turnbull to see what his status is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.